Hi, have you ever thought how many women you have heard to say that they should lose weight, that they should do something about their hair, that they should do something about the wrinkles, that they should do something about their appearance? And how many men have you heard to say the same? Of course, there are men who are anxious to change their appearance, but they are quite small, like minority compared to the women that is opposite, like another way around. There is like this much women that are perfectly happy of how they look and they don't want to change a thing or they don't even think about it. But why is that? I have been thinking about it and talking with my husband, and we thought like two things. One is from my husband and one is from me. And the truth that comes from the world of men is that they have so much better ego, so much better self-esteem. They are the kings of the castle by their own right, and they don't even think about it. They don't want everybody, or they don't need anybody to say that they are perfect, that they are handsome, that they are big. They believe it just among themselves. And that's why they think that they are perfect as they are, simply because they believe so. And one thing that my husband pointed out to me years ago was that it doesn't matter how, I know this is terrible things to say, but how hideous young man you find. They will think that they are very handsome and they will go after any girl they see. No girl is above their limits. So that's maybe, especially among young people, the driving force. Young men think that they are alpha males. They think that the world is theirs and they think that they look perfect. Or they don't even think about it, because looks is not the thing. It's about size and it's about the muscle. And if you have it, you are it. And on the other side, girls, women, they are very insecure. Do they have too small boobs or too big boobs? Are they too tall or too short? Are they too fat or too skinny? They are all the time comparing to one another. And of course, girls have these alliances. Unfortunately, that's the women's way to battle. And they mock each other. And of course, boys mock each other and girls too. That's just the way world works. And I think that parents has one small portion in this too, because I have to say, having a son, that for some reason I am pouring everything to my son very differently than do a daughter. I am living with side by side with my daughter, but I am giving my praise to my son limitlessly. And that's something that I noticed, and that's something that I cannot explain. I'm quite rational. I love all my kids same. They are very different personalities, but I love them because they are mine. And for some reason, the way I behave with my son is very different than when I behave with my daughters. And I don't know, but maybe, of course, because son was in early ages, he was a means of protection. So I would assume a son to take care of me when I get old. Son was supposed to protect me from the harm's way, from whatever animals and other tribes. So there wouldn't be another male who come and kill me. I don't know, that's quite far-fetched, but it might be. But my husband says that it's women's own fault that they are so anxious about their appearance. But I don't know mean like anxious in a mental health aspect, but I mean the normal kind of anxiety of does my bum look big in this kind of thing. And but it's of course it can like stress you, and it can cost you, because of course all the makeup factories have got a whiff from this. Makeup was at first for men. We know that if you have looked at all the movies and dig up a little bit history, makeup was originally for men. But then things changed, and it became something for women to make them look better. And women try to look better. I wear makeup, and I'm not ashamed to say that. And I sometimes think about it, if this is necessary, or if people look different, or if people look at me and think differently if I wear makeup or if I don't. So there are lots of things to think about. But of course, there are this society around us that like makes us think, like be more critical amongst to ourselves, or just trust on how we look. And that comes to women and men differently. Women are expected to be pretty, and it's expected to be nice and neat and modest, and that comes to appearance. If you are modest, you are supposed to look that way. It's not just this kind of a overall look, but it's how you behave and how you look and how you carry yourselves. And pretty girls have always had it easier. I believe that has been from the dawn of the mankind. If you are a pretty girl with big eyes and you look cute, then you will have many people to protect you. And of course, men, when they grow to be big, then they have all the leverage in the world. And there has been studies specific for men, that if you are tall, you are thought to be wise and good leader. If you are big, like big, then like with the muscles, then you are thought to be this kind of alpha male and good leader. If you have big jaws, if you have heavy eyebrows, not never heavy, but heavy, and of course big jaws, then you have much testosterone in your system, which means that you are aggressive, which means that you are a good leader because you kick the neighbors. So these are the things that come to our mind, even if we don't think about it. And of course, in this like modern society, we don't think that is my husband able to kick the neighbor if needed and take their food. But we still have the same brain that we had before, and that's just something that we assume. And if you look at the men who are on the top in politics, in anything that is like democracy driven, because then you have really can see the power of the people and of their minds, they tend to be very tall men. Maybe heavy jaw, maybe broad shoulders. There aren't very many small, tiny men in the top of the world, is there? Of course there is, if you have some business and you have like superior brain and you make inventions and that kind of things, then you are not in the same competition. But even then, the ones that get on the top are the big guys. But it's not the same for women, is it? Because men are assumed to be leaders and aggressive and that sort of things. But if woman is tall and bulky and muscles and everything, she is looked as a weirdo, and maybe somebody might be afraid of her. That's the reaction. And I really had to think about the same kind of physical signs from women that people look differently. And the only thing that I actually could get or could think about was a breast size. I know how it looks, or how it sounds, but as a woman with boobs, and if I dress myself right, they look really big. So the more I'm dressed so that they are visible, the more positive men are towards me. And that's funny. Oh, that's not funny. With big boobs, I can feed a lot of babies, and I am a good mother, and I'm a fertile, and that sort of things. Of course, I'm not fertile anymore. I'm 51, but in the early days. So the only thing that I can think of about physical appearance, of course, if your face is pretty, it's pretty, and that's it. But if you have big boobs and if you have round figures, then you are more likely to be liked and considered beautiful and considered good wife material, but never a good leader. That's not something that is with women. That's something that is with men. But if you think about these two things, if you think about, like, I don't know, 20% or 10% of men are like, or the tallest 10%, tallest 20%, they really thrive and they really know their place and they are really looked up in everywhere they go. So they have this kind of certain element of their being. And then there are the smart ones and the funny ones. We know that funny men are some of the most successful men in the world, at least among ladies. But that's just the truth. But women don't have that kind of leverage. Women with big boobs don't think that they are on top of the world, that they can have approximately any man they want to, because they worry about other things in their looks. So men have these, like, these triumphs, these things that make them superior. Women don't. So it's not, I don't wonder why women think that they should enhance their looks in any way they can, and of course try to look live, vigorous and youthful, despite of are they actually young or are they old. That's just something that we aspire. But can we do something about it? No, we don't. No, we can't. We can't do anything about it. These are so embedded in people's minds that tall men are good leaders no matter how dumb they are, and more or less they are dumb, at least from my perspective. So there is this cult in men's superiority that is embedded in our heads, that is in our subconscious. And we look the world like that also. But as a women, we don't have that. We don't have a similar kind of advantages. We just are meant to be passive, and we are meant to be cute, and we are meant to be good mothers, or look like we can, like, provide food for babies till the world ends. But it doesn't have to be that way, of course. Just by knowing these things, just by thinking about this true, we can be more merciful for ourselves. At least one thing I remembered. I'm going from one place to another, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter me. But the one thing that men are not forgiven, as are not women, or maybe women sometimes, but is that if you are obese, like overweight, like really, really, really overweight, then it might be dead, you cannot find company. So if you have the self-esteem, if you have the tall build, but you are very heavily overweight, then people don't think that you are a good leader, or they think that you are a little bit stupid. Or that's the first impression. Of course, all my impression is or who is tall and who is short and who is muscled and that sort of thing. It doesn't refer to any specific person, of course, but it just tells you how people in general look. And of course, there are tall people that are smart and there are tall people that are dumb, but still the tall and dumb have it easier than the short and dumb in men's world. But in women's world, it doesn't make any difference. If you are dumb, or if you are beautiful, that's nice. If you are smart, like more than average, it's nice. But if you are very smart and very beautiful, then nobody likes you, and that's not a good place to be. Like, I don't know, Marilyn said in one of her movies, it was Some Like It Hot, that for men, wealth is like for women, beauty. And that's very true still. But we can talk about our appearance and what do we think and what does the society think and why men think they are handsome and women think that they are hardly average. But it doesn't change the fact that who we are, like we individuals. I look like this and nothing in the world would change that, or a load of plastic surgery would, but I don't want to. And do we have to try so hard, or just be ourselves? What do you think? I hope you have a great day. See you soon. Goodbye.